Hi everyone, welcome to this module on a quick demo of the OCI Object Storage service. Alright, in the previous module, we looked into the service and some of its key characteristics like strong consistency, high performance, high durability, etc. Right? In this one, let's quickly do a demo of the service. So we have been using the OCI console in our last few lecture series. Right now I'm logged into the OCI console. You can see I'm in the Ashburn US East region, and if I click on this sandwich or burger menu here, I can see different services links, right? So there's compute, block storage, networking, file storage, etc. So object storage is where you would find the object storage service. If you click on object storage here, the first link you see here is it says create a bucket. Now before we do that, there is a compartment here which you have to choose. Right now we have been using training compartment for all our demos, so we'll just use that. But just keep in mind that the buckets you are creating are also in your compartments, and compartments are the logical isolation. We talked about that in the IAM module. So let me just go ahead here and create a bucket. So I'll say this is my uh, bucket for test. So I'll say this is my test bucket. And right here, I get a choice of whether it's a standard tier or an archived tier, right? So I'll choose a standard tier and we'll go create an archive tier bucket also and take a look. And down here, you can see that I can use uh, I have I have server-side encryption, and I have an option to let Oracle do server-side encryption using Oracle managed keys, or I could bring my own keys, customer managed keys. Right now, I'm just going to let Oracle do the server-side encryption using Oracle managed keys, and I can of course do tagging. So I create a bucket here, and you can see the bucket is created, and there is nothing in the bucket right now. So few things you will discuss this in the next modules, but few things you see here. First, the visibility is private, meaning this bucket is not open to the world, and that's the default behavior. But I can come here and I can edit the visibility. I can make it public. Now there is the check box here which says allows users to list objects from this bucket, right? And I'm okay with that. I'll say it's a public bucket, and it gives me a warning that enabling public visibility will let anonymous and unauthenticated users access data stored in the bucket, right? So this you should only do if you have a need like this where you are sharing something and you really like it's like a web page, you really don't care, it's open to everyone. If not, you should always have a bucket as a private bucket, not make it public. So let's go ahead and upload a couple of objects here. So I have been recording a bunch of these videos. Probably those are pretty big. So probably we're not going to upload them. I have this picture of Mount Rainier. Let me just upload it, right? It's a pretty small file, 100 KB or so, right? So I see the file is uploaded here. Now, again, keep in mind what we said in the first module, you're managing data as objects. So whether it's JPEG, it's a video, it's a log. Object storage doesn't really care, doesn't regardless of the content type, it manages them as objects, and you can see the object here. So if I click on view object details, I can see some of the details here, right? First thing I see here is the URL path. So if I have to access this object, I can click on it and I can object it. I can access it. You can see here. This is my service URL object storage us ashburn one.oraclecloud.com, because object storage is a regional service, right? So it's tied to that region. Then there is a namespace. In my case, my namespace is int oracle rohit, and that's the same as my tenancy name. So remember, every tenancy gets a unique namespace, and you can create buckets within that namespace. And the same bucket, test bucket, can be in another tenancy, because the unique identifier is not the bucket name but the tenancy name, right? And then the object is Rainier, and there's you can see these delimiters here, /n for namespace, /b for bucket, and /o for object, right? I can see some other values here, right? I can see the size of the file. I can see it's a standard tier. I can see things like e tag, entity tag, right? And these are used for if you are doing multi-part upload, you can match your e tags. If there is, e tags are nothing but your MD5 hash, and you can see some of these MD5 hash. Sometimes the values will be similar, sometimes it will be different. So again, we're not getting into a lot of those details, but you can see some of these characteristics here, right? So if I click on this link here, I can see my object, right? This is the object which I have. It's available here. So the service is really straightforward. I can click download, and I can download this object, right? And I can get that. Now a couple of things I want to show here is if I change my visibility and make it private and save changes. Now if I come here and I try to refresh this page, you would see that the page, it gives me an error message saying that either the bucket name does not exist or you're not authorized to access it. No, it definitely exists because we created it. So the second statement has to be true. We are not authorized to access it. So this is how your default behavior should be for objects you don't want to release, to the world, right? You should keep them in sort of in a private bucket so that only people who have access can have the requisite access permissions, can access it. Let me go ahead here and create another bucket, and this time call this archive bucket. And the behavior is very similar. I can upload an object here like we did earlier, but remember it's an archive bucket, so the data has to be restored before we can download it, right? So the file is available here, and you can see here the download button is grayed out because I cannot download it right away, but this bucket here is available. So if I click on restore, it says time available for download in hours. It's an optional value if I want to provide. I'll just go with the default, and now I'm in the process of restoring this data. Now if I do this before 90 days, there is a cost which is incurred. But like I said, time to first byte is typically 4 hours, and in four hours time, I would be able to get this data, because the whole use case for archive storage is long-term retention and backup. So if you want to access your data in an instantaneous fashion, you should go to archive. You should go to a standard bucket. Hopefully that gave you a quick overview of how the OCI Object Storage service works. In the next module, we'll look into some of the more details, like some of the more advanced details, like cross-region copy, pre-authenticated request, etc. Thank you for joining this demo. Um, I hope to see you in the next module. Thank you.